Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another Monday this and that video. And for those of you who are new, it's just my chance during the week where I can give updates, answer questions, let you know about some experiments I've got going on, and whatever else I feel like talking about. So let's get to the topics of today, and I'm going to start off with the hardest one first because I've been avoiding this for about a month now because it's very difficult for me to talk about. But I have to share this with you because I have a lot of our followers who are fans of our little Cody dog. Well, Cody is no longer with us. So back in about mid-October, Cody got very, very ill out of the blue. But I managed to nurse him back to health through various means, using some good quality tinctures that I had made. And he was almost 100% better. He was doing so great. He was running around and chasing birds and squirrels. And then suddenly took a very drastic and rapid turn for the worst. And nothing I did for him could bring him back. And it's been very hard on both of us. And it's also one of the things that's especially hard about losing our sweet little puppy is that I feel like a failure. I was so excited when I got him almost completely better, and then he just went downhill suddenly, and it was so fast. But we still watch my son's dog, Luna, which is his sister. They were out of the same litter about 5 days a week. She's here right now, in fact. And the sad part is every time she comes in, the first thing she does is look around the house for Cody. She's trying to find Cody. That's her brother, and that's her buddy. At least being able to have her around has helped to kind of fill in that gap of missing Cody. And I know it's especially hard on Patrick because, as a lot of you know, Cody was his buddy. He went everywhere with him. He went on the backhoe, in the telehandler, in the excavator, in the dump truck. He went everywhere with Patrick. And so it's just made a real hole in our family. And anyway, I wanted to share this for the sake of those of you who just really like seeing Cody in our videos. And I felt it was fair to you to go ahead and just let you know, even though it's difficult to talk about. But I do, and I'm trying to put it together, a little tribute video, just a short little tribute video of Cody from when he was a puppy and up, of him running around and hanging out with Patrick, and some photos and stuff. I've got a lot of the stuff loaded into the editor, but it's just really hard to work on. But I'll get that together eventually and just put that out there for those who miss this video and don't hear the news. But anyway, so like I said, I wanted to get the hard stuff out of the way first, just to let you know. But let's move on to some more positive things. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the vanilla oil I'm making. So you can see this right here. It's been going for a few days. And you're probably wondering, why vanilla oil? Why would you do that? Well, I've been making extract for many years, long before I started my channel. And always always experimenting with different ways of making it. However, because I'm trying to develop some new homemade chocolate recipes, which, by the way, if you'd like to see some of my recipes, check out my playlist I'll be putting in the description box down below. It's not even just the chocolates themselves. I have a video on making like chocolate syrup and I think a couple other things related to chocolate. But some of these recipes, like I was trying to develop, and I thought at first it turned out pretty good, but then decided I didn't really care for it that much, an eggnog chocolate, but it just needs something more. And one of the things I think it really needs is some vanilla flavoring. Well, if you're making just a chocolate, things that are in a liquid form, fat, just like oil and water don't mix. Well, yeah, that's kind of the same idea. You're not going to be able to get an extract to be able to mix in with the fats well enough for it to not separate. So I got myself finally some liquid form coconut oil. that is definitely food grade. And, you know, this is what they also call fractionated coconut oil. And this was the best price I could find on it. And I bought Carrington Farms solid coconut oil in the past. So I thought I'd try this one, both for the price and the fact that, well, I'm pretty happy with that brand. And so I decided to try taking my vanilla beans, and then what I did was I split them both ways. I split them down the center so I could open them up, and then split them crossways. And I wanted to start with just a small batch. So I just have a half pint jar here. And even in just the short time that it's been infusing, the smell and the flavor is already infusing quite well into the oil. So I believe this will be the answer to what I need when I want to flavor my chocolates with vanilla, or add the vanilla as more flavoring, especially when you're doing the white chocolate portion, because most of my chocolates have like a white chocolate portion. Like I just made some peppermint patty bark. The recipe's in that list, and I did that one years ago, but I'll do the bottom layer some kind of white chocolate, and mixing in stuff like peanut butter for a peanut butter chocolate, or some powdered up freeze-dried raspberries for raspberry cream chocolate. Usually that's going to be where I'd want to put that vanilla flavoring, and the thought finally just hit me to try doing this. Now, since it's a flavoring and not a medicinal herb, and it's vanilla, it should be able to handle the heat. I've actually been keeping this close to my fireplace, right in front of the brick, right next to the wood stove, so that the heat can help it infuse faster. I think it could almost be ready to use right now, but I really want that vanilla flavor to be nice and strong in that oil. And then I'll be doing a separate video on this down the road, and coming up with some other ideas that you could do this with, where you might need an oil for flavoring rather than an extract that is an alcohol base or something that's not going to blend well. And anyway, so yeah, I'll give you an update on that, especially once I try it in something, to see how well it's going to flavor whatever I choose to add it to. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's kind of a fun thing. Now, another thing is I've been working on my pantry again. I never buy olive oil in little small glass jars like this, or bottles, because it's not very cost effective. But somebody had given this bottle to me. I think it was maybe my son, I'm not sure, and I forgot about it. And it was back there, so I thought, well, I need to take this out and clean it up. So I removed the label, and bottles like this, I wanted to bring this up because glass bottles like this that are dark are perfect for storing your homemade herbal extracts. Because of the fact that they're dark, that's going to help prevent that excess light from getting in there, and they're glass. And this is a really good size for an extract, especially one you might want to pour into like a little shot glass or a tablespoon or a teaspoon. So I do have those. I have I think it's four of the dark brown beer bottles with the swing top lid that I purchased from a garage sale years ago. And I love those things for storing my finished extracts, the ones that I'm actually using. And this I can use the same way. And so I just wanted to bring that up, because if someone, even if you don't buy in oils and stuff like that in bottles like this, if you know someone that does, ask them if they're not going to keep their bottles to donate them to you, because these are perfect for such things. And that's why I wanted to bring that up. It can save you some money that way too. And then the next thing, I kind of mentioned this in last week's video when I was talking about my Amazon storefront that I finally got going again. And one of the things I made sure to add in there was the scraper. Now there's all kinds of these board scrapers using for bread out there. I was looking for one that wasn't highly expensive because I wasn't sure how much I was going to like it, and also one that had a wooden handle, which I'm seeing now I need to treat this again. I think I'd put some oil on it recently, but anything with wood I always treat with either coconut oil or palm shortening. Anyway, that's just a good way to keep that wood lasting for a long time, looking nice, and keep it from splintering and cracking. But anyway, when I first saw people doing breads and using these little things, I always just saw them cutting the dough with it. And I'm like, well, that's silly, because you can use a knife, or I could just use the side of my long flat spatula for that. And that's what I'd been doing. And then it dawned on me as I got to looking at them a little closer, because this is a spatula I typically use for cutting and for scraping my board. But I usually have to do it this way, the long way like that. And it kind of hit me that would probably be perfect for scraping my board. And let me tell you, I love this. And because of the beveled edge on these scrapers, I think that's what they call them. I didn't even know what to call them when I went to look it up. That makes it much easier to scrape the dough off the board as you're working the dough. So I'm using it for tortillas. I'm using it for my bread making. I plan on making ravioli here from scratch in a couple of days, and I plan to do a video on it because I've been meaning to do that for a long time. But I'm going to use this for doing that as well. And so if you don't have a board scraper yet, I highly recommend one. If you do a lot of different types of bread making and you want something that you can not only just kind of move everything around easily enough, but something that makes it easy for scraping that dough off of your surface. And then it makes the cleanup later so much easier. So if you go to my Amazon store link, which from now on will always be in my videos in the description box, you'll find this one in here. But you can look through there and find something that you might like better, maybe cheaper, maybe more expensive. This one was about middle of the road in price. And by the way, just so you guys know, a lot of people don't realize this. If you go through any of my Amazon links, it doesn't matter what it is. Let's say you go through the link for this and you decide, oh, I don't really like that one. And you find a different one, completely different, and you add that to your cart, we still get credited for that. Or maybe you go through the link for this to just look at it, but while you're in there, you decide to throw a few other things in your cart. Maybe it's a set of throw pillows, or maybe it's a book. We still get credited for that too, and that really, really helps us out. So if you're already shopping at Amazon for anything, anytime you go through our links, or any other channel that has an Amazon affiliate, you go through their links, that does help them a little bit. Everybody earns a small commission out of anything you put in your cart, even if it wasn't the original recommended item. And that can really help a lot of the channels, especially channels like ours that have just been, YouTube's just been keeping us, we were doing good for a while, and then suddenly they just kind of pushed us down to the bottom, and they're keeping us way down here. And by doing that, it helps keep us out here still creating content. And we do enjoy doing it. I want to stay here as long as I can. And those little things like that do help. Another thing I wanted to say, so I had a video come out about emergency lighting that I use. And somebody always points out the solar light thing. And I never think to mention it because we don't use the little solar garden lights for lighting our house during the winter, when there's power outages. We certainly don't need them during the summer because we're getting plenty of solar power to run all the lighting in our house without any issue. The reason why the solar lights, the solar garden lights, I never mention them, is they are absolutely worthless to us this time of the year, because they only are able to get just enough solar power to maybe last 30 to 60 minutes after dark. And so it doesn't matter if they're getting full sun or not. They're out there where they can get the most exposure. We just don't get enough light. We don't during the winter for them to be able to charge those batteries to keep them lit for, it's not like we even need them lit all night long, but keep them lit for a few hours until we're ready to go to bed. So that's why we fall back on other types of lighting, like our candles, our real candles, our LED candles, our fuel run lanterns, which I forgot to say in that video that yes, we use clean heat. We do have kerosene. Clean heat does still have a smell, but it's far more mild. You can barely smell it. It doesn't give us headaches or make us nauseous the way kerosene does, and is less expensive than your pure paraffin oil. That's a good one too. It can burn. It burns really clean, but it's really expensive. So clean heaters are go-to when it comes to our indoor fuel lanterns. At any rate, yeah, so that works better for us. But with that said, if you live in an area that even in the wintertime gets enough sun to keep your solar garden lights charged to at least until you're ready to put out enough light until you're ready to go to bed, that is a great option. You just bring them inside and put them around the house somewhere. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is in regards to Teflon and the hex clad. I had actually meant to say this in the video when I was talking about why we tossed our Teflon years ago. One thing I didn't know that somebody pointed out, that apparently, at least in some states in the United States, PTFE, or polytefluoroethylene, has been banned from products. And I think that's really great. And I also, after I shot that video, had learned that Hexclad has changed their design. And I guess they're no longer using Teflon. However, here's my thoughts. First of all, it's an incredibly expensive set of cookery. I'm still very, very happy with my cast iron, my stainless steel, and my glass. And that's what I stick to. I do have a couple of stoneware baking sheets that I love, but mostly the stainless steel and cast iron are what I use. Those are the top. So I personally would not spend that kind of money on something like that that's highly just promoted. And just because they may no longer be adding a PTFE, I really can't say what they're using in there now to make a stick-free surface. And also, a lot of people were just asking me about ceramic cookware. And initially I was thinking, well, I assume it would probably be okay. But now that I think about it, I really don't know. Who knows what they're using in there to treat that? I can't tell you. I do have a couple of cast iron, they're like little soup bowls with handles that I picked up at a garage sale, really cheap, that have the ceramic coating on the outside and inside. But I think I might have used them once. I never use them. I should just get rid of them. But I just forget that I have them. But now thinking about it, it's just like with the Teflon, we didn't know when they first came out with Teflon what all that was and how bad it was for us and how it off gases. And a burning Teflon pan, if you forget about it and you've got birds in your house, it can kill your birds. I didn't know that either until several people shared that in the comment section under that video. And if it's going to do that to your birds, canary in the coal mine, what about yourself? What about your dogs, your cats, your kids? So yeah, so maybe it's banned now, but that doesn't mean people still don't have these things with the polytefluoroethylene in them. And I suggest even more so now getting rid of it. But if you'd like to see that video and why we got rid of ours back then, there was a lot more, and that was in association with healing our thyroids and going off of the thyroid medication, which we've been off of now for 13 years. I just want to put that out there. Just look into it for yourself. I don't have all the answers for all those things. If it's something I don't use, it's something I probably haven't looked into. And so you can do that research for yourself about the Hexclad, about the ceramic cookware, and see if you can find out what is in there. Sometimes I know it's just a matter of learning how to search and learning how to change your wording in your browser. What toxins are in ceramic cookware? If you word it like that, as if they are in there, you might be more apt to pull up sites that will tell you that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my this and that for the week. Any thoughts, ideas you'd like to share, please put those in comments down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.